That's it. Training camp officially over. Joint practice is over. It was fun.
Training camp or joint practices. Yeah, it was all fun.
Both. It was all fun.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing knowing we won't be at any more practices. We'll be there for the first 15 or 20 minutes when they warm up and stretch. It's not the same. I thought it was 2 good days up at the Jets facility. Kind of like both days were kind of like the first day with the Patriots, just really intense. A lot got done, and it was competitive. It was fun.
Yeah, it's exactly what Nick Sirianni wants. I wanted to mention I saw quite a few podcast listeners up there. It was cool. Yeah, a few, a bunch of names that we read and see them comment all the time. So it was nice to put a face to a name. And also another cool podcast thing. How many people mentioned to us that Noah Tangiai, or as we call him, Noah Tagoa, was waived injured by the Colts? I mean, it was dozens. So I like that we have our inside jokes here. And if you don't know, you don't know.
It never occurred to me that the people that tweet to us are actually real people. Like it just never really made the connection. But yeah, it was good to see. There was a lot of Eagles fans up there. A lot came from a lot of people from Allentown. I was talking to a bunch of people. Allentown, Bethlehem area came across 78. Some people from South Jersey. So it's a nice setup they have with the Jets. They have the room to put grandstand in at the on the side of one of the fields, and they have a smaller little shaded area at the other end of the field, and people can just walk around freely from one field to the other behind a fence. But it kind of has a real training camp feel to it.
It does, yeah.
Something we haven't had since 2012.
Yeah, and it was cool that those practices were public, so some Eagles fans were able to get tickets and get there. It was funny on the one portion of the stands from across, like from way across, I thought like something was on fire. They have little misters. So it was mist that was coming up from the stands. I thought someone was like cooking behind it, or I thought something was on fire, but no, it was just some mist that I thought about running up there and getting some of it.
I was almost on fire by the end of today's practice.
Yeah, today was a scorcher. Both days pretty hot. And I think those temperatures kind of raised a little bit of the competition. It was a little more
chippy.
feisty, a little chippy, feisty. Yeah, there was, and both days really, I mean, more than we've seen all of training camp, like even more against the Jets than the Patriots. It was guys going at it a little bit, which was fun to see. It's good to see too, as long as it doesn't escalate.
Yeah, you can see John Howard just every snap he was just looking to fight somebody. It was I earned some new respect for him for that. But
who was that?
John Hightower.
Oh, I thought you said John Howard. I thought you created a Jordan Howard, John Hightower hybrid.
Him too. I think they're going to sign him actually, but no, it was there are no real fights. There was one little scrum that kind of got a lot of pushing and pushing and shoving, but I thought it was a high intensity. Definitely more intense than a practice with just the Eagles. No question.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was pretty good. So we'll go through some overall thoughts from the 2 days, some observations from those practices, some winners, some losers. And then we'll talk about a few topical things, the left tackle competition that still rages on, and then some players we want to watch in the preseason game on Friday. I don't know how many players are actually going to be playing in that game, but we'll try to find some guys to keep an eye on. But
at least
overall
22.
Thoughts, yeah, at least 22. Well, maybe we'll see if some of these guys might have to play on both sides of the ball. My first takeaway is that the Eagles won both days. If Nick Sirianni, he won't tell us this, but if they're grading everything and they're coming out with winners and losers, I thought the Eagles won both days pretty easily. And honestly, I thought they won both days against the Patriots, which means they're 4-0 in these joint practices. I don't know what that means because they're also 0-2 in the preseason, but Sirianni clearly favors this setup to the preseason games, and they've won every day they've done them.
Yeah, I thought the second day against the Patriots was probably close, but the Eagles probably did win it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Howie's putting that on his resume for that next executive of the year.
Yeah, and before I get like the word, when's the parade? I mean, we're tempering this, but it's
Yeah.
we can't ignore it either.
No, if they're going to do them, excuse me, if they're going to do them and keep track, yeah, I mean, then we will. Yeah, I thought the Eagles had a good couple days on both sides of the ball. I thought the Eagles won, first defense versus the Jets wasn't close. Wasn't close. I mean, the Eagles defense is, I mean, they just look really good. They look solid. They look intense, and just there's nobody that sucks in there. They're just a solid group with a defensive line that is elite, and a couple other players that are really good. I thought both corners, Slay and Steve Nelson, had really good couple days. I mean, Slay looks. Look, again, I don't want to get carried away, but he looks great. I mean, he looks like the player that I expected to see last year. I thought he was good. He was good to very good last year. I thought he looked exceptional these last couple of days.
Yeah, he was that good last year, except really two games. And when he was facing two of the best receivers in football, he's a very good player, and it's apparent like how much better he is than the other corners we see, and not just on the Eagles, but on these other teams too. Gilmore didn't practice when the Patriots were in town, so that might have been different if he was out there. But he's clearly better than the other corners we've seen. The Eagles defense really dominated. I thought, especially the first day. I thought the Jets offensive line battled a little bit more on Wednesday. The Eagles defense still got the best of them. And I mean, look, the Jets are banged up too. Mekhi Becton, I think he got a concussion on day one, so he missed a lot of time, missed the whole holiday too. They're without Vera Tucker, the high draft pick on their line. They have Dan Feeney in there, who is going to be having nightmares thinking about what Javon Hargrave did to him for 2 days. But they're only going against
Vinny Curry's out.
Yeah, we're talking about the Jets offensive line.
Yeah, I know. You're just talking about they weren't at full strength. I'm just throwing his name out there. But their offense, was certainly not at full strength. But yeah, it was really encouraging what we saw from the defense from all phases. I thought, we talk about Slay, but I thought Steve Nelson was really good. The linebackers, were what they are, and it was encouraging. I thought, you saw some guys like I thought Anthony Harris made some plays. I thought he had some good plays. You look at this defense, and there's no weak link that I see. I mean, there's nobody that you just kind of cringe when the ball goes their way. They're pretty solid. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're looking for a weak spot is maybe the depth in the secondary. I still don't know if Rodney McLeod isn't ready for week one. I don't know who the other starter is. They've really rotated there. Kayvon Wallace is hurt right now. We've seen Marcus Epps there a bit. We've seen Andrew Adams there some. He's kind of come on pretty strong.
He has. He had a good couple of days. Yeah.
He did, absolutely. So I don't know who that player would be. I think outside corner and really that their depth at cornerback, you question. Just look, we like Zach McPherson, and I thought he's rebounded from what was a rough week. Last week he had some nice plays on Wednesday, but I don't know if he's ready to step in if someone gets hurt. So there are questions. It's not like I don't want to paint this super rosy picture because we're kind of grading it on a scale of what we see, and I think they're a much better team than the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I'll be surprised if this isn't a top 10 defense. I just think I think they have that talent level. And
okay.
They haven't been since 17, obviously. But I think they were number 9 last year after, I think it was 10 weeks. And then the injuries just caught up and they fell apart. But there's talent, especially up front. I mean, you mentioned Hargrave. We talk about Fletcher Cox and how dominating he is. Hargrave's not Fletcher, but he's just one step below him. I mean, he's really active and just powerful and athletic, and he just looks like a different guy than last year.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, he wasn't on the field this time.
When he did get on the field, he just wasn't. I mean, he just looks like a different player. I expect. I think you said this back in January, February. I mean, I'll be surprised. I would say surprised, but I would not be surprised if he makes his first Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah, he was the first guy on my list when I was coming up with a few names. So I thought of players who could reach that level this year. And he was with, the guys like Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders who get talked about quite a bit in when you're making that conversation is like, all right, who's the next guy to take that step? But yeah, Hargrave he's very good. And he's going to have so much opportunity this year next to Fletcher because Cox is still going to get double teamed. Even though it would, you mentioned Hargrave's a step below him. It's still a big step. Fletcher's still one of the best defensive tackles in this league. So he's still going to get doubled, which gives Hargrave so many chances to get one-on-ones. And you try to go with a one-on-one matchup against him, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, he was asked about, I think his career sack high is 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Something like 8 wouldn't surprise me this year from him. I mean, you never know. Sacks, he could do the work and someone else finish it, but I just
which might have happened today, by the way.
Yeah.
That last play, he raised his hand for that sack. I'm not sure if Josh Sweat didn't beat him there because of him collapsing the pocket. So we could see some of that this year too.
Yeah, that's true as well. But yeah, I think people are going to be really pleasantly surprised by what they see from Hargrave.
How about on the offensive side of the ball? What did you see from Jalen Hurts in these couple of days?
I thought he was really good. I thought he was better today. I just think he's consistency improving, I think. Like I thought early in camp, he would have a wow play and then, maybe not so good play, then a wow play. He's stringing together plays and he really, the thing you love about it, like when they run red zone type drills, that kind of like really high intensity, 2-minute drill, that kind of stuff. His level of play goes up. Like I was watching him in one-on-ones and like, he's okay. But the bigger the drill, the bigger the stakes, like team drills, more like football. His level of play goes up and he's just so much fun to watch. And, you can see him really honing in on Goddard and Devontae. I think those two more than anybody. Gainwell. I mean, you can see who he likes throwing to.
He's throwing a lot to Quez.
And Quez, yeah, and Rager as well. But I think Quez, Devontae, and Goddard are probably the three that he just really feels good, the best about throwing to right now, and you can see why. I mean, Goddard had a great couple of days, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that.
These last 2 days up there.
I thought he had a quiet start to training camp in general, and then over the last couple of weeks, he looks real good.
He looks great, and he's a good. You want to pick a first-time Pro Bowler? I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how the reps. If Zach Ertz is here, how that all plays out. But
it was funny. Sirianni was kind of asked about that today because earlier in training camp he said having Zach Ertz here won't force him to use 12 personnel more, which is a lie. I mean, it absolutely will because he's a good player. You want him on the field. And today he said it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
A good problem to have is still a problem.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to have a choice because who are the most reliable receivers on the team? I mean, Ertz and Goddard are probably 1 and 2 as far as catching the ball and securing it and, getting 8 to 12 yards, and there's other guys that might get to that point. But if you had to rank who the most reliable receivers on the team are, I mean, it would probably be Ertz, Goddard, Boston Scott, and then
Greg Ward.
And then Greg Ward, sure.
I mean, I think Devontae is going to be there very soon.
Yeah, and I think he'd probably be next on that list, and then maybe yeah, I mean, but those are the. But right now, Ertz and Goddard are 1, 2, so he's going to have to play 12. I mean, just by default.
Yeah, I don't like in theory because this team has potentially very explosive offensively because of the speed they have a receiver, and it's not like Dallas Goedert's a slow player, but he's not Quez Watkins.
No.
No.
I mean, I don't think they're going to play it as much as Doug played it, but I think we will see it. Yeah.
Anyway, I got off topic there. I wanted to talk more about Hurts. I saw some really good things from him, especially on Wednesday. What I liked, because that Jets line actually has some talent, that defensive line, especially up in the middle where you have Quinn Williams and some other players. So he was getting forced out of the pocket, and I liked his presence and his understanding of when to leave the pocket and how to avoid that pressure, how to roll out, keep his eyes downfield, and make something happen with his arm. There were some moments over the last couple of days where he held the ball too long, and it kind of forced a tough throw at the end, and that's what you want to avoid. And there were a few times I heard Sirianni kind of give it to him for that. That's still a learning process for him, is kind of figuring out when he needs to deliver the football. And in practice, like we've talked about this, it's hard to simulate the game because you can hold the ball for 14 seconds in practice and nothing bad happens to you. You do that in a game, you get your head knocked off. So, but it's kind of a tightrope there. I didn't say a fine line.
It's fine
because
line.
he has the ability to extend plays. And when you have that, there were a few times against the Jets where they were getting annoyed because they were very long plays and they're thinking we'd have a stop by now. But Hurts has the ability to do some of those things, extend plays. So there are going to be moments where, there was one in particular to Quez Watkins in the back of the end zone where the Jets were going crazy because they're like, no way this happens, but it might, because Hurts has the ability to scramble around, keep his eyes downfield. You give any receiver 7-8 seconds to get open, they're probably going to do it.
Yeah. What I like the most is that he's looking to throw. When he's on the move, he's looking to throw. And I think that shows. I mean, we saw him kind of make strides even last year with each passing week. He was more apt to throw in those situations when he was on, when he was moving around back there. I mean, he'll take off and run if it's the right thing to do, but he's looking to throw it, especially in practice. I mean, we know he can run. We know he's fast. We know he can be elusive. He's going to run for, 17 games. I mean, if he runs for 30 yards a game, that's 500 yards. He's going to have a lot of rushing yards this year. But I don't think it'll be like last year when I think he had, in his 4 starts, he had something like 239 rushing yards, I think it was. I don't think he's going to be anything close to that, just because I think he's shown a lot of growth in the passing game. He wants to throw first. He understands that he's out of harm's way, as long as the pocket.
I also think, by the way, that the read option and even some RPO stuff will be a lot bigger part of this offense than we've seen.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he can handle that. It'll be interesting to see how much of that they do. I mean, it's a special skill for a quarterback to be able to make those split-second decisions. But man, what a weapon if he can master that.
Yeah. Anything else from these 2 days that really stood out to you?
There was a couple players that I thought made some big strides, but
we're going to get the winners and losers, so let's not jump the gun.
I don't want to go off script here. No, I think if I'm Nick, I'm really happy. Again, I don't want to get carried away with the 4-0 and all that. I just thought they got good work, and I'm a believer in joint practices more than I ever have been. I thought the leap from the regular practices by themselves, which they haven't done in a while now, to these 2 sets of joint practices was really big. Like I've covered joint practices with the Patriots, I guess 3 times before this year. Who else was in here?
Ravens.
The Ravens were in here a couple years ago. There's been some other ones.
Dolphins. The Dolphins coming by.
Yeah. I remember because I interviewed Nate Allen. I don't know why, but I did. I don't think I ever wrote it, but I thought the jump from the regular practices to these 4 practices was bigger than it has been, and I think that's a credit to all the coaches, the preparation they did, the organization. I thought for the most part, I mean, the Patriots matched the Eagles' intensity. I thought for the most part the Jets did. I thought there were times, yesterday, Tuesday, where they didn't quite. I think they had to kind of raise their level a little bit, but that they did. And today was really a really fun practice, really good work. And I'm a believer. And I'd be shocked if they don't have 2 sets of these again next year, if Nick's still the coach.
Yeah, gosh.
Assuming he will be.
Yeah, I finally got to watch some Zach Wilson on
Yeah.
day 2. The first day I wanted to watch him, but the Eagles defense just ruined it for me because they were just wrecking just about every play. I like what I saw in 2 days from Zach Wilson now.
He's got a nice arm. He puts the ball where he wants to. He's got some zip on his throws, doesn't he?
Yeah, he throws with anticipation too. He's putting it, in front of his receivers, at least what I saw. It's limited sample size, obviously, but I was impressed.
Yeah, I was too.
He looked a heck of a lot better than Cam Newton or Mac Jones in those 2 days.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think he's going to be good. Yeah. Hey, score big with the AAA Eagles MVP membership, along with the superb roadside assistance and discounts you've come to expect from AAA. Get exclusive Eagles-related perks. For all the details, visit AAA.com/Eagles.
Give me a winner from these 2 days.
Jack Stahl.
Yeah, fair.
How about him?
Coming on strong.
Undrafted rookie tight end. He's gotten more, with Tyree Jackson out and Jason Kroom got hurt. He's really flashed. He's had a good camp, period. He catches the ball really, really well. He's not a real big guy. I think he's pretty solidly built, but he's small for a tight end. But man, can he catch? There's been a few balls, and there was one today that, for a tight end, a young undrafted tight end to high point it, to catch a ball that's been batted in the air, a one-hander and bring it in. He's making some great plays. He's got my attention.
He does, and he'll be an interesting one. They lost Noah Togoa last year, and he's another undrafted rookie tight end who, you start to think, I wonder if maybe they'll keep him over Richard Rodgers. Is that crazy?
No, I don't think Richard Rodgers has done a whole lot. I like what he gave this team last year, but Jack Stahl's had a better camp.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he had the catch he made today for the touchdown, the over the shoulder from Flacco, who, by the way, Flacco really, he goes from one tight end to the other. He was throwing to Tyree Jackson every day. He gets hurt. He's like, I'll throw to Jack Stahl every single day.
Well, that might say more about the second team receivers than Joe Flacco.
It might. All right. Should I give you a winner?
Yeah.
Andrew Adams.
Yeah. He's been around the ball the whole camp, but now he's catching them.
Yeah. Well, even when he's not catching them, there's still big pass breakups. And, I said earlier, I don't know who's starting if Rodney can't. Might be him.
Yeah. He's gone for me. He's gone from, I'm not even sure he's going to make the team to he's going to play. It's possible. Yeah. It's almost like he's having like a Patrick Robinson-esque training camp without a position change.
Well, he was never bad.
No, he was never bad, but he didn't really make himself known. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, and he got off to that late start. He was on the COVID list, and he missed 7 days of camp.
He's good.
Yeah, I've been impressed by him. You got another winner, or then we'll go to some losers?
No, let's go. Let's go losers and then
alternate. All right, give me a loser then.
Travis Fulgham.
Yeah, what's funny? Yesterday, I was watching him make a couple tough catches, and just as I'm about to all right, he dropped one, easy one, right in his hands.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. He did catch some balls the last 2 days, but there's no consistency there. And the easy ones, the ones that you just can't drop those. And the circus catches, those are a bonus, but. There's a real gap now between Quez, Rager, and Devontae and the other receivers. And Fulgham, I think when camp started, Fulgham was ahead of Quez, but now it's not even a question. I
think it's fair to say Travis Fulgham has not had near the camp the Eagles hoped he would.
I think that's fair.
I think they wanted him to take this spot and run with it, and it went the other way.
Yeah, there's nobody who's really challenging him. I think Andre Patton is, but I don't know how they look at him. I don't know if they just look at him as camp legs. he's had a better camp than J Jaw or Fulgham. I mean, or well, I mean, yeah, probably better camp than Hightower too. Hightower had an okay day today, but yeah, to me, Fulgham is. I still think he'll make the team, but hasn't had a good camp. Didn't have a good couple days.
Yeah. My turn for a loser.
Yeah.
Andre Dillard. He's back out there at left tackle with the second team. And we're going to talk about that situation in a minute, but he hasn't looked good. He just hasn't looked good. He's gotten manhandled since he's been back. He's not a very good left tackle right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick said he's having a great camp though.
I don't see it.
Nick's starting to lie to us. I know he's getting settled in as head coach now. He's starting to lie to us.
All right, give me another winner.
Another winner, Kenny Gainwell. And I mean, I don't think he hasn't been bad. I mean, he's been good the whole camp, but catches everything, Dave. Just catches everything. And, the quarterbacks love to throw to him. And he's out there with the ones a lot. And he's going to play. It's going to be interesting how the running backs line up because he's the best receiving back on the team. I mean, Boston, I think more of Boston than you do, but I think Gainwell can do more than Boston with the ball in his hands. And I like Boston. Boston's okay, but I think Gainwell has a chance to be special.
Yeah, and it was cool over the last 2 days when they got into those competitive periods at the end of practice. It was Gainwell out there with the first team. Miles is healthy, but it was, I think, let's get him some, like if they're viewing this as their games, like let's get him some game reps with the first team offense, which kind of tells you what they're thinking about his possible role in this offense.
Yeah.
My turn for another winner here.
I think so.
Okay. We mentioned him already, but how about Quez? I mean, he's been their best receiver. And that's not a knock on the other guys because they've all made plays. And Devontae, we see it. I mean, we see the talent. It's there. His route running is elite, but Quez is making plays every day. I mean, special plays. The one where he kind of got banged up on Tuesday, he soared in the air to catch that. And he somehow held it when his back hit the ground. He had one in the corner of the end zone that got called back today, but it was still a fantastic catch. He had the other one in the back of the end zone. It's amazing to think of where he started to where he's finishing camp. He started camp as like, he might not make the team. He's finishing camp as a starter.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one guy who has improved their stock more over these last 17 days.
And how about in June, I wrote that it was going to happen to my own horn, but you could see it. You could see it at the end of last year. There was something there and you could see it in mini camps, but yeah, I mean, the kid is, and it's funny. I mean, Hightower, I think last year before they both started playing, people thought Hightower had a better chance.
He was a higher pick. He was picked around before.
He was around earlier, but it's not even close. For a 6th-round pick to be doing what Quez is doing, I can't wait to see him play in the regular season. Who are we talking to? It was Avante, I think, was talking about how fast Quez was last year. He's even faster now. And it was the D-backs, I think, love going against him because he's on their team. I think he's a challenge for all that. And I mean, when he goes against Slay, that's great work. I mean, it's fun to watch.
It's interesting him in the slot too. He's not what you think of.
No.
As a slot guy. It's not that he's not quick, but he's not that short area change of direction that you think of as the slot. He has like long speed in the slot, which can be fun. I think it also means we're not going to see him predominantly or not always in the slot. I don't think that's fake from Sirianni when he says he's going to move guys in and out, because I think in order to maximize that position, they're going to need different types in there, but he's fun in there. It gives them a new element.
Yeah. And I I mean, he's
And when I said they
physical.
needed more explosion out of the slot, this is what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking J-Jaw.
Yeah, you go from Greg Ward to Quez. That's getting that's a
And
vertical.
that's not to say you can't use Greg Ward in the slot
Of
anymore.
course not.
He'll be on the team, and he's a reliable pass catcher who can do things that Quez can't do still.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, Nick talked today about. I thought he was pretty good talking about how, we don't want the defense to know where anyone's going to line up from play to play, and you're going to see all these guys. We're not going to see Devontae in the slot, but you're going to see everybody, and you probably won't see Greg Ward outside very often. But he said basically anybody. He says it's harder to go from the slot to outside, but anyone who could play outside pretty much could play in the slot. But they're gonna mix and match as much as possible, both position wise and personnel wise, and just make it as hard as possible for the defense to know where people are and how they're going to line up.
Does it concern you that it's such a young group?
No, because they're not going to win the Super Bowl this year anyway. I want these guys to play as much as possible. I know there was a school of thought that they should go sign a veteran receiver. I don't want to take reps away from these guys. I want them to be out there as much. I want them all to play as much as possible, get as many reps as possible, get as much work with Jalen as possible, and see exactly. I want to know in January exactly what they have in these three guys and the other ones as much as possible. But no, because a veteran could come in here and catch 45 balls, and what's that going to prove? All it's going to do is take development and playing time and experience away from Rager, Devontae, and Quez and Fulgham or whoever else. But no, that's the last thing I want is a veteran in here. And I think these guys they all take it very seriously. People talk about leadership. They have that. And I think Greg Ward does some of that, but it's a serious-minded group. They're driven. They all want to get better. They all have great attitudes. And I like this group the way it is.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I think that they've kind of been honest with themselves, starting with Jeffrey Lurie about what this season is. So
yeah,
it would be a little counterproductive when you have at least potential at that position to say, because I think they'd be a better team if they had a receiver with some experience who could plug in there. You know where you're going to get, but
hey,
I'd rather.
You busy? What kind of shape?
You know you're getting there. Yeah, I'd rather. He's got it. Never mind. He's got a two-way call with someone else. I'd rather. I'd rather see the young players in there.
Yeah, you want to do one more
loser.
One more loser. Well,
finish on a negative note like we like to here.
I mean, loser is probably not the right word, but when Kenny Gainwell's out there instead of Miles Sanders with the first team, I think there's a message there that if Miles doesn't catch the ball better, he's going to lose playing time. And I don't think they're down on him. I don't think he's going to get benched. I don't think he's going to. He's going to be the lead ball carrier. He's going to get the most snaps out of the backs, but you got to be able to catch the ball in this offense if you're a running back. And Miles has not done that this camp. And he's going to lose playing time to Gainwell if that doesn't change. Whether it's 5 snaps a game, I don't know. He's still going to play more than Gainwell, but there's going to be times where you see Kenny Gainwell out there and not Miles Sanders. And that's disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the situation we saw today late in practice where they were in the 2-minute drill, clear passing situations, and you're trying to pick up yards to get down and get closer for an end zone shot. You need someone who can pick up chunks of yards in the passing game. Yeah.
And I mean, even Miles said it about Gainwell the other day. He's just got such natural receiving ability. Miles is fighting the ball right now, and Gainwell, the rookie's playing like a third-year veteran, and third-year veteran's playing like a rookie. When it comes to receiving, I think Miles is running the ball as well as ever. He looks fast and powerful and elusive.
I do want to note he did have a nice catch one of these days. So it's not like he's dropping everything
No, it's not.
Here. Yeah. So he's working at it. And look, when he does catch the ball, he can be dangerous in the open field. So that's why it's like, for their sake, they got to keep working on it, because you can't just say he's a runner. And I think in a way you almost have to live with the drops in certain situations, because you're not going to limit him and his potential as a playmaker by not throwing in the ball. But I also think in certain situations where you absolutely need a guy to catch it, he shouldn't be out there, or at least not right now.
Yeah, and you also, when Gainwell's out there, he's got to get some carries to keep defenses honest from thinking, well, if Gainwell's out there, they're throwing. You can't get into that trap either. So it's going to be fascinating. They have some talented backs. Seeing how it's all going to fit together I just don't know yet.
Yeah, neither do I. All right, I need another stock down. How about Gennard Avery?
Yeah.
He's missing time. You might look, if Howie Roseman's doing the 53 on his own, maybe Gennard Avery makes a team because he is worth a 4th-round pick to him. But this guy can't stay healthy. And even when he's been healthy, I haven't seen him make many plays. He'll
always have the 49ers.
Yeah, he'll always have that game. It was a great game. He hasn't done anything since. He's injured both groins in this training camp. He missed both of these joint practices. This is a guy who they list him as the starter at that position. I don't know if he has his teammate.
It's fair. Yeah. I would guess he doesn't. Like you said, I mean, when you make a trade like that, but now you're 2 years removed from the trade. So you just got to keep the best 53. Even if he makes the team, it was a bad trade. Just don't trade a 4 for a guy like that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, left tackle. We mentioned Dillard earlier. Nick Sirianni doesn't want to come out and say that Jordan Mailata is his starter, but he kind of said it without saying it today.
Kind of. He said, you guys see who's out there with the first team. Today was the first time that Dillard has practiced 2 days in a row where none of those reps were with the ones. He's been alternating with Jordan Mailata, as you guys know. Nick's explanation for that was, well, he's coming back from an injury. So, but he's practicing. So it's not like he's not practicing. I mean, he's practicing. He's just practicing with the second team. So it's becoming more and more obvious. I mean, I think we said this the first day of camp that Mailata I think I walked up to you like the second day and was like, I'm writing that Mailata's left tackle. He's like, you're like, it's just too early. I'm like, I don't care. It's obvious now. I don't know why they're going along with the charade, but
they're not as much because they're not rotating.
Yeah. But and Nick said you guys can see who's out there. So Mailata's had a good camp. And
he also said you guys can see who's out there, but he also said those are the guys we view as starters in a way, Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the next question is, well, what do you do with Dillard?
Yeah.
I think they most likely keep him. I don't think he has any trade value.
There's some bad tackles in the league.
Yeah, he's one of them.
He might be, but everyone might not think that right now.
That's true. It's embarrassing to take a 5 for a 1. 4. You're not going to get a 4 for him. Guy plays one position and doesn't play it that well. And he just got beat out by a rugby player from Australia. I mean, you're going to trade for him? I mean, it's not like he's put anything good on tape. I don't know. Do you think he's here? Opening day.
I don't think they can cut him. And
I don't think they can trade him.
I don't think they can trade him. So those are the options.
I just try, you can hope he gets hurt, put him on IR, but
maybe they just play him the whole game and just hope that he looks good and then try to trade him.
Probably. He might play every snap Friday night.
Or they think they can trade him and they don't put him in there because they don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, I think he'll play.
I think he has to prove that he can play.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure. Even if he does, I'm not sure what you can get for him. I mean, no one's going to give you a 3 for a guy who started 4 games 2 years ago, got benched in one of them, and has been hurt ever since. And
but he's a first-round pick, and the team trading for him hasn't watched him every day.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not trading for him. I see him every day.
Yeah.
GM who needs the left tackle.
Liked him coming out of school, maybe. But what's the best you could hope to get for him?
Early day 3 pick.
Yeah. Well, if you trade a guy you drafted, 3 years ago in the first round for a 5th round pick, it's embarrassing. But they might have to do it. Cut your losses.
Yeah. Were you surprised that we haven't even mentioned this? I don't think, but Jason Peters signed with the Bears.
Speaking of tackles who can't play,
but you would assume that Dillard is available.
Yeah.
The Bears would rather sign an old JP instead of trading a day 3 pick. I'm guessing. I don't know if the Eagles would take it, but trading a day 3 pick for Dillard.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's telling you that they feel like JP is more qualified to play than Andre Dillard. I mean, there's obviously a familiarity there with Juan Castillo is their O-line coach who coached JP here. Matt Nagy was here with JP. But I mean, who would you rather have? I mean, JP is probably better, but he'll get hurt. Well, they both get hurt. So I'd probably take JP. I can't believe I'm saying that.
It was weird, by the way, to see him in Bears gear.
And weird seeing him do a press conference because I don't think we talked to him in 2 years.
Yeah, when's the last time he did a press conference? Like 2012?
It might have been, early in 2019, maybe training camp 2019.
A press conference, though? Like he would talk on the field or at his
locker. Yeah, that's what I mean.
He did a press conference.
Yeah, that might have been the day when the Eagles got him, 2009 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, it's been a year full of uncertainty, but one thing is certain: Independence Blue Cross can help you make the healthcare decisions that are right for you. Choose coverage you can count on with the region's strongest network, Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
All right, Rue, we have a game on Friday, kind of. I don't think we're going to see many starters in this game based on what we know about Nick Sirianni and based on what we've seen these last 2 days of joint practices. Pretty intense work. These 2 days together were more intense than the 2 days against the Patriots. So if you kind of extrapolate and you look at this game, I don't think it's likely we see a lot of their top players. So let's go back and forth and just who do you want to see in this game realistically and why?
Realistically?
Realistically. So we're not saying, I want to see how Darius Slay. No, he's not playing. Let's find some guys who we think are going to play and we want to watch.
Well, I guess, I'll put these guys together just because I think they're both bubble guys to some extent, Fulgham and Hightower. And we didn't mention Hightower. I thought he had a couple okay plays, a couple good catches today.
He had a really nice catch in a one-on-one.
Yeah, he did. And I like the fact that he was, every time there was a fight, he was jumping in there, showed me a little bit of toughness there. But I want to see both those guys make some plays. And I don't care who the Jets are playing out there at corner. It doesn't even matter. Just catch the ball, finish the play, and just show me you can catch a ball in a game.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll go with Jason Huntley, who early in camp was really shining. He was making a big run every play. Then he got hurt, missed some time with a ribs injury. He's listed as limited. He's been doing a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure whether or not he'll be ready physically to play in this game. But if he is, I think, I was really leaning toward them. Maybe they'll keep 5 running backs because you can't afford to lose this guy. I'm on the other side of that fence right now, I think. So I want to see if he can do enough in a game to pull me back.
That's a good one. I'll give you, and Kayvon's not going to play, but Epsy, I want to see a lot of Epsy. I think he's had a decent camp. And, like you said, there's a lot of, and I'll put Adams in there too. There's a lot of question marks at safety.
I like you're going 2 at a time here.
Yeah, I'm doing tickets. When do you think we'll see Rodney?
I don't know. It's a really weird situation this year because the Eagles have to have their cuts and their roster decisions by August 31st, and then they don't play until September 12th. So it's kind of a guessing game. Normally there's less time between final cuts and the first game of the season. So
It's usually like 7 days, like the weekend.
yeah.
Before.
Yeah. So this is uncharted territory. So you're really projecting with Rodney. And I think first off with the roster decision, because if he's on the pup, he'll miss the first 6 weeks of the season. So I kind of don't think he's going to be on the pup. I think they're going to activate him because even if he's not ready for week one, I think he'll be ready somewhere in that 6 week window that would make it worth keeping him. But it's tough. And you have to make the same decision with Landon Dickerson. You know,
I don't think we're going to see Landon Dickerson this year.
Okay.
I think they're just going to try to take this year, just let his body get healthy. He's had so many injuries. And I think they kind of like their interior depth.
Well, the nice thing is they don't have to decide on August 31st because he's going to go probably, if he's not going to be activated, he'll be on the NFI. So you can decide, you can push that down the road. Where with Rodney, you're not going to want to do that because presumably he's going to be ready to play within that window.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm guessing Rodney maybe week 3. It's not really based on anything other than just instincts and just watching him. He wasn't up here. He was back. I guess he stayed back in Philly and worked with rehab guys. But he looks like he's running okay. I don't know. It's tough to tell. He's an older guy. Obviously, they're being cautious with him, but they kind of need him. It'll be interesting. But as far as Dickerson, yeah, I think they just shut him down, let him get healthy, and we see him next year.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, because you said you went with the ticket.
Yeah.
Of Marcus Epps and Andrew Adams, which does sound like a presidential ticket because of Andrew Adams. How about this? Is going to sound like a strange one, but Matt Leo.
Remember Lincoln Kennedy, football player? He said he was thinking about running for president, but he was afraid he would get shot.
It's a good line.
It's an actual quote.
It's a good line.
Anyway.
Yeah, I like his chances of getting shot.
Awful. We're now joking about assassinations here.
I mean, yeah, has enough. We kept always too soon. We're good on Lincoln, not on Kennedy.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to give you Matt Leo, and that might sound weird because he's not going to make this roster, but this is a 29-year-old guy who's roster exempt, and he looks so out of place in that first preseason game that it made me think of like, well, let's pull the plug. What are we doing here? But all of a sudden on Wednesday, he started making some plays. Did you notice that?
I saw one play he made. I think it was right at the very end. He had the last tackle.
Yeah, it might have been a sack. It was close to getting across the line, but It was a big play. And he has the physical gifts where he wouldn't be here. It's about teaching him the position, and we're 2 years into this. I want to see something that makes me think that it's worth and they can keep him for as long as they want on their practice squad. But at a certain point, like, figure it out if it's still worth doing. So I want to see him in the game.
Yeah, we were talking to one of the PR guys or something about, he's 29. He's in his second year as a non-roster international. What's it called? The program.
It's an international exemption.
It came up because he was a plumber.
Yeah.
He was a plumber back in Australia. And so apparently they can keep him on that list as long as they want and try to develop him. They think there's something there. He could be 35 and be on the exempt list. It's like a lifetime situation. But
at a certain point, Jeff Lurie, how much am I paying this guy? Even a practice squad. Like,
does he make? Yeah,
he makes practice squad money.
Yeah, I guess he does, which isn't bad money.
Not bad money.
Not bad money at all. All right, should I give you one more?
Yeah, we'll do one more each, and then we'll call it a day.
How about that? How about that Jacoby Stevens? He's healthy now.
Yeah.
He's still an intriguing player to me. Rookie 6th-round pick. Kind of got off to a good start in camp and then got hurt. He's back out there. I'm curious about him. I'm not sure where he fits in or how he fits in, but I want to see him. I want to see a lot of him.
That's good. He had a big pass breakup with the second team defense in that 2-minute drill today.
Right.
Yeah. I'll give you in the same vein, Patrick Johnson, the 7th round pick, who by default might be the Sam linebacker for the entire game because Joe Austin's gone. They waived injured him, and Gennard Avery is hurt. So I think we're going to see a lot of
Kerrigan's still rehabbing.
Yeah, Ryan Kerrigan's still rehabbing from that broken thumb that needed surgery. So he's the only guy to play that position right now, really. So I think he's going to play a lot, and he has a shot to make the roster.
He does. He can play special teams, and he's versatile. He's a good one. I'm curious about him. He got banged up at practice today, but he did go back in. So I was relieved to see that for obvious reasons. That'll be obvious to readers tomorrow.
All right. That'll do it then. That was a fun 2 days. And by the way, nice big tree.
Yeah. Can we talk about the tree?
I couldn't really
Can we get a graphic of the tree? Maybe I could do this.
It's yeah, I mean, for the YouTube listeners, we'll make Alex do some work and pop the photo up here. If not, I tweeted it, but it's a big oak tree in the middle of their practice fields. This is not how things work, Rube.
No, that looks good.
It does look good. Yeah, there it is. It's a big tree, and it's apparently an oak tree.
Remember that song "Big Oak Tree" by Wonder Stuff?
No.
No, you don't remember that?
No.
Big Oak Tree. Anyway, yeah, it's really cool. It's right in the middle of the practice fields.
Yeah, there was a story from the New York Times where I guess he just said a lot, but Woody Johnson would look out and see it looks like a V with the tree trunks. He said it looks like a V for victory. What we're trying to do here. I said I looked at it and looks like a Roman numeral for 5 wins.
Yeah, I stole that line, by the way. It's a good line.
Did you steal it?
Yeah, I did. Jets facility is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they have a lot more room than the Eagles, and yeah, nice place. Mr. Lurie was not here, but if he had been, I think he would have had a bulldozer to the NovaCare on Monday morning and started over.
Yeah, it's tough. The Eagles are so limited with their space.
Now, so here's a thought. What's just west of the NovaCare complex?
West?
Just west of the facility.
I haven't held my compass out there. I don't know.
Well, obviously Broad Street's going north to south. Pattison is just south of the facility, and Hartramp is just north. To the west is the world's largest unused parking lot, right?
There has to be a reason they haven't taken that over yet.
Well, so the city owns the lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you're Philadelphia, if you're the city of Philadelphia, wouldn't you want to lease that land to the Eagles or sell it to the Eagles and generate revenue? Because that lot doesn't do anything. Like they use it for overflow, like the Phillies stadium workers park there, but they're not paying. Then they take a school bus over there. They're not paying to use it. Nobody ever pays to park there. It doesn't generate revenue. I measured it. It's 27 acres.
Do you have one of those things on a stick and you just roll it across the?
No, I used a there's an app where you can measure any run, how long any run is. I'm using Google Maps, so I measured it, and it's 27 acres. They have 22 acres at the NovaCare. They could double. So even if they took half of that, they could add 13 acres. Tear down that thing. There's one fence. They could move the parking area. They could have more.
Look at that fence. I might be able to rip that thing down.
Yeah, that fence is not doing so well. And I mean, no one ever uses that parking lot. So they could enlarge their they could get a bigger bubble because their bubble's obviously not, 100 yards. What is it, 60 yards, I think. Mm-hmm. They could have more fields. They could have bleachers in the fields. Now, I don't know if the city would allow fans. That was the thing when they built the NovaCare. But if you built the stands like on the south end of that, like along Pattison, they wouldn't be anywhere near the homes that are on the other side of that lot. And that lot goes all the way down to 20th Street. It's huge. So I don't know. To me, it makes perfect sense.
I like the idea of like one day I show up to practice and you're out there with a ruler and a protractor trying to figure out
tape measure.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Now, once we get to the protractor, it's time to close it out. So if you enjoy the podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, Please rate and subscribe there as well. Leave a comment. I had some people over the last couple of days tell me I did the stuff, so we appreciate that. Always appreciate you guys doing the stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool meeting a lot of, in all seriousness, a lot of you guys who are loyal podcast listeners and watchers, and seeing you guys up in Florham Park of all places. It was cool seeing everyone.
It was, and we'll talk to you guys on probably on Saturday after that Friday night game. That's all for Reuben. I'm Dave. We'll talk to you soon.